Good day, my friends. Well, it's back to normal, back to usual, back to business as we imagined. The Durham hearing is over. There's a bit of postprandial review of that. And for the most part, it's a complete and total waste of time. It was nice. It was interesting. We had its moments. As we discussed, very frankly, Mr. Durham did a very good job in laying out a lot of what was happening. That's terrific. Good for him. And now it is time for us to move on. It is time for us to move on. You will never hear anything about this again. You will never hear any conclusion. No, as we say, denouement, no conclusion to this, no nothing. It will be a slap on the wrist. Mr. Schiff was censured. And believe it or not, he wears it with a badge of honor. Of course he does, because he did the right thing. Believe me when I tell you this. Among the deep state, this is something that he should be most proud of. And let me also say, if you see this silliness, is silliest a word? This silliness regarding Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene, this says everything. The Republicans are disjointed, not connected, not organized. Nobody wants to hear it. Republican sites love to hear, we're doing great. Yeah, MAGA, Trump, great. This is terrific. They love to live in a delusion. That's why they're going to lose again. This little this House floor, this rebarbative, these antics between these two children, between this Boebert, who I never liked, ever, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, who was losing her ground, her footing. Did you see recently there was some picture, I don't know how good it was, of her meeting Trump and Trump just walking right by her? Did you see this? Did you see this? Ladies and gentlemen, the Lionel National Scholarship Foundation, a foundation designed to help millions of young students across the globe. Thanks to LNSF scholarships, many are getting the education they deserve. You know what? I would be absolutely honored with that. You have no idea how I would do this. You have no idea. My dream is to have a boot camp. Thank you for that. Thank you. Hand crepitations to you, sir or madam. You have no idea. You have no idea. That's what I do every day. I get every moment, every day, before I do any video, before I speak to you, I realize, I say to myself, I know this is a waste of time, but I'm going to do it anyway. Thank you. There has been, how do I say this? We are on a plane. We are on a plane, and this plane has a lot of instruments on it. A lot of instruments in the cockpit. And people are looking at things. The people who are watching this want to be pilots, enjoy flying, but they don't know anything. They're distracted by all the buttons, by all of the hoopla. That's what's going on. We need to go back, and we need to start. We need to educate people from the beginning so that they know, don't pay attention to this. Pay attention to this. This is where we're going. These buttons don't really apply. There are conditions that we don't care about. Why? You're never going to buy a plane with 4 meters. You have to have more. I'm bombarded with all of this stuff every single day. And I'm thinking that's not important. The people who are in charge of this government, of this form of this, are plotting things out. And I see them coming on the horizon. You're looking here. You're looking at this submarine. Now, let me explain something to you. I'm sorry about that. Please help them. I'm not going to be hanging on each second. Let me know when they're rescued. Let me know. There's too much to focus on right now. I'm not going to be distracted by this. This is a distraction. I'm going to throw something at you right now. This is happening right now, and I'm trying to tell my friends. You see, I have these friends of mine who are so incredibly, I don't know what the word is. Well, for lack of a better word, they don't really know what's going on. They don't know what's going on. And they don't want to hear this. But let me give you this example. Let me give you this one right now. And let me show you what's happening. And this is so important and so critical. You have to watch. There are people who are agents of the deep state, the shadow government, and they're being tasked to do certain things. And one of the ones that you got to watch is Kathy Hochul from New York. Let me tell you what's happening. Listen to me. They're now taking executive measures to address housing in New York State. Now, most people will say, I don't care about New York. I don't live in New York. And they miss the point. It's going to be coming through executive order after she and state lawmakers will agree on something. They're going to use executive orders to expand housing. The proposal announced, and you'll see, will be to encourage development around commuter rail stations, allow the state to override local zoning rules for qualified projects, and create benchmarks for communities to expand available units ultimately. Now, let me explain to you what this means. Low-income housing, to rip up and destroy zoning rules, to put low-income housing, and to destroy the idea of zoned, gated, private property, high-end, you're targeted. They're moving in right there. Let me make it even clearer. What would cause the greatest, not equality or equity, no. But what would cause the most problems? Exodus, anger, destabilization. Let me give you an example. In New York City, we have something called NYCHA, New York City Housing Authority. NYCHA, it's a terrible name. NYCHA or housing. You'll see some like just in it's hard to believe this, $1 million apartment, 1-bedroom apartments for like $1 million. It's bizarre. Anyway, you'll see them, and then right next door there will be this housing unit. Very nice, but sometimes not so nice. Sometimes not so nice people, sorry to say it. Sometimes wonderful people. But when you have public assisted housing, you get people who need public assisted housing. And they put it now right in the middle of areas. There's an area called Billionaires Row. It's on 57th. Between, I don't know, like, Broadway and 7th or something like that. Like right around across from Carnegie Hall. And right around the corner, there's a homeless place for dispatched illegal immigrants, migrants. We're going to see a Third Amendment issue here. We're going to see the issue of housing, forced housing. Listen to what I'm saying. I've got friends of mine, they live in these places. Greenwich, Connecticut. Oh, they think they're so much better than you. This is Greenwich. It's right there. Parts of New Jersey. I know when you hear New Jersey, you think, Newark, the Sopranos or Real Housewives. Some nice places. There's places like Mendement, Peapack, and all these with places you have never seen. Property so big you can stand on the street and look and not even see the house. It just goes on forever. That's where they're putting it. That's where they're going to do it. That's where they're doing it. Now that's one thing. That's one thing that's happening. There is a movement now, and just put that away. Just put that aside. Okay? Just put that aside. This is what's happening, and you have to know where to look. It's not the Lori Lightfoot. It's these people, Kathy Hochul. Now, another thing. YouTube and most how do I say this? Most media platforms, by virtue of strict rules, I'll tell you, Instagram and Facebook, very strict. You are not allowed to talk about certain things. It has been absolutely, positively nailed that you are not going to talk about certain things. There are websites, there are alternative, citizen, civilian, and foreign websites that are so brilliant that once you see it, I've got a friend of mine, a self-styled expert on vaccines. Don't ask me why. He just overnight, he's an expert on vaccines. Overnight. And I said, you keep saying the same thing. And to him, you say one thing to him, mRNA, and he goes crazy. I don't think he really understands it. He just reacts. Okay. I sent him one. I don't even want to mention it here. I said, look at this. His jaw dropped. I said, you don't even know the half of it. You don't know the half of it. Look what's going on in the world right now. Look what's being said. Oh my God. You see, at my boot camp, I would show people that. See, because there is a desire still to crush free speech. Can't say that enough. All this Durham stuff, that's fine, but let me give you an example. Our sponsor here, the My Pillow folks. Remember him? Remember when our My Pillow fans came in? They came in and they just, and once the pile-on started, oh my God. Why? Because it was fun. Because there are people who just love to jump on somebody. They don't know. We used to play a game. Ready for this? When I was in grade school, this was a game we played at, this was a different time. At recess, whatever called, sometimes it would say, kill the man. That would be the name. And somebody would say, you. And everybody would chase after this person. This person would run for their life. And once they were caught, they were jumped on. Nobody really was hurt. Today it would be, eliminated because people would be, I don't know, self-esteem or who knows. I don't know. But that's what we are today. We can say, you, and they will jump on them immediately. You. Oh, okay. You. Joe Rogan. You. Bobby Kennedy. You. Whoever. You. You're it. And they will jump on this person. Rob Schneider is trying so desperately to elevate himself to some status. Good for him. Good for him. But all of a sudden, they're going to say, you. And that's the way it works. So, when it comes to subjects, they do this thing too. That's why you have to stop looking at these instruments and look over here. So, one of my classes at my summer camp, my boot camp, whatever you want to call it, is how to use the internet. People still don't know. They don't know anything. Let me say this again. By the way, mypillow.com, promo code Lionel. Do you know they have a free gift for you? And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, wait a minute, isn't a gift free? I know. That's called a tautology. Isn't that great? A free gift. mypillow.com. Okay? You dig it? You dig? You dig? Okay. Promo code Lionel. mypillow.com/Lionel. Solidus Virguo Lionel. You don't know what the information is. Now I don't want you to take this to heart the wrong way, because I love you and you've been with me. But you don't know anything. You've got to know about history. You've got to just start. We have to take you like Paris Island, break you down and build you back up again. You have been involved in this cutesy world of Tea Party, not Tea Party, not that Tea Party, but almost like this quaint little, ooh, let's talk politics. Well, you know, there was Matt Gaetz. You have children. Matt Gaetz decided he was going to attack Durham. Why? Because Matt Gaetz is a, and you fill in the blank. This is the way they go. I would have told him, we never, ever, ever use our time and lose our chance to make a point because you want to establish yourself as the big shot. Do you understand that, son? Boebert is screwing things up by virtue of her timing to impeach the president. Why? Because she realizes she's got to get her name out there. That's like this Luna all of a sudden for the censure. What does the censure mean? Was that important? Well, it's okay, I guess. What happened with all this? Nothing. 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 Every time you do something, there's a distraction. Now, let me start off with this. Number one, and I keep saying this every single day, the first thing we have to do is once and for all figure out, where does Donald Trump fit into your calculus? Where? You tell me this. If you're wasting your time, if you are thinking that somehow Donald Trump is going to elevate himself, status, he's going to be this, I don't know what. If you truly believe this, you're demented. We are never going to get anything done, ever, with a Donald Trump administration. Never. That doesn't mean he's not a good person. It doesn't mean he's not the best person. It doesn't mean he didn't do a great job. It doesn't mean he's not a patriot. It doesn't mean any of that stuff. It's the wrong person now. Because the second or third part of my boot camp would be, you've got to understand politics. If your idea of suggesting politics is saying, for example, it's all fixed, it's all fake, it's all, whatever it is. If that's your idea, if that's it, we're doomed. If your idea is to say it was stolen, Philadelphia, cardboard, they stole if your idea is to keep being dragged into this Kerry Lake thing, you're just stopping. You're stopping along the way. And say people who were, believe it or not, they're still, they used to, I don't know if they are anymore, arguing the Civil War. They're arguing the Civil War. Do you want to be a part of this? Do you want to see, do you want to be a part of this? Where do you think, this is important, how do you think this thing works? People have this idealized, childish belief that Trump is that he's their big daddy, he's the hero. He's going to come in and he's going to fix everything. And he's going to undo everything. And he's going to change everything. And it's that once he gets in, everything's going to be different now. He's going to have a cabinet that's effective. He's going to have an attorney general that's effective. He's going to have a secretary of defense. He's going to have a secretary of state. He's going to be able to undo, reverse, everything's going to stop. Everything's going to change. All of this, this nonsense regarding gender and whatever. He's going to fix everything. It's all going to change. It's all going to reverse. It's like, he's going to roll it back. Everything's going to be different now. China's going to get on board. He's going to end this problem with Ukraine. Everything is great. Once he gets in there, that's it. He's going to start signing things, and it's going to be back. The streets are going to be clean again. Everything's going to be reversed. There's no more. There's no more Human Rights Commission. Soros is going to go away. There's no more corporate equity index or indices. There's not going to be no more DEI. No more this business about climate control, climate change, nothing. It's all going to be fixed. It's all going to stop. That if Trump comes in, it stops. It fixes it. It's done. And the Democrats back up and say, okay, you win. And then there's going to be more federal judges to reverse what happened. And everything's going to be great again. Everybody's going to be terrific. And the Democrats are going to calm down. And they're going to finally get it through their head that, no, Trump's in charge, Trump's the man, Trump's this. And that's what people believe. They believe this because Americans have this idealized, childish view of politics. It's paternalistic. I don't understand it. I don't know what the word is. That's not the way it works. Instead of saying, I want the programs, I don't necessarily want Trump. I want his programs. What are we going to do? How is this done? The Democrats cannot wait. Cannot wait to jump on Trump again. Let me say this again. Anybody who wants to go through that again is insane. Vladimir Putin said about the Soviet Union, anybody who doesn't have a soft spot for the Soviet Union or has fond memories has no heart. Anybody who wants to go back to the Soviet Union has no brain. That was pretty good. Pretty good. You dig? Good. Now this is the thing which is the most important. This is the most critical. This is what I'm trying to explain to everyone. We need to go back to what's happening. What is happening right now is so scary. And that's why if you go to look at what I'm looking at, look at what they're doing regarding free speech. The real area of concern, and for the most part, Americans have never done this, is in the international platform. UN, NGOs, World Economic Forum, World Health, etc., etc., etc. That's the way to go. You will never be able to understand what NATO has done. Nobody's even discussing this. No one. Ford Frey says, good morning, Lionel and friends. Shamefully, Hochul and the New York AG are appealing the unconstitutional quarantine power play lawsuit they recently lost. Oh, yes. And by the way, Ford, thank you for this because we have to deal with something. There is a Supreme Court case, and they're not even done with that. Look what they're doing to Alito, and they're so good. They're going after Thomas and Alito for the first time because they don't understand how this thing works. But anyway, thank you, Ford. Appreciate that. Listen to what I'm saying here. This is very important. Very, very important. Listen, it works like this. We're used to just looking at, I don't know what. I'm not sure. I've never seen anything like this. Sports people don't do this. A sports person doesn't get hung up in preseason. The novice does. A baseball fan doesn't worry about anything until things get really rocking. they don't worry about this initially. They just don't, I don't know what the word is. They wait, there's 160 whatever games. They just know they just know sports so much better. Americans don't know anything about politics. And the issue that I was going to say for it is that the Supreme Court has to deal with the idea of this case, Jacobson against Massachusetts. This was a 1905 case involving smallpox inoculation. What is going to be the state of the law when you say, I do not believe in immunization? Let me ask you this question. It's a very simple question. And you have to, and this is called hypothetical questioning. This is Socratic method, whatever you want to call it. Okay? Number one. Do you, and this is important, do you think, in the case of the following, let's assume we have a disease that's really serious and it's very contagious. Very, very contagious. And nobody doubts it. Name it. The question is, do you ever think that the government will ever be able to say, you either have to stay home or wear some kind of a device, whether it's a mask or something, or receive immunization if everybody agrees this stuff's been around, it's safe, and it's effective? That's the first question. Do you believe that the government, under its police power, can tell a citizen, you are going to spread this, Typhoid Mary? Do you think, and most people would say, well, of course. Of course. Of course, your freedom, I mean, unless you want to move to a desert island, but your freedom is now encroaching upon me in the event that something is absolutely contagious. There isn't anybody who doesn't think that. There isn't anyone who thinks that. They used to say things like, for example, when somebody would be at work, you'd say, "Go, what are you coming into work for? Stay home. You're going to get everybody sick. This is just for a cold." People know how this works. Same things with kids, with lice or whatever it is. Don't bring your kid to school with lice. What's the matter with you? We all know that. It makes sense. Doesn't it? Yes. There's nothing counterintuitive about that. There's nothing that's no. Okay. Well, what happened was, in the meantime, we had the wrong people saying the wrong thing, and whether this is by design or not, we had people who came across who were so obnoxious, and Fauci was the most obnoxious person anybody has ever seen. So if he told you, if Fauci said, do not stay in your house if there is a fire, leave your house, seek safety, even that you would say, okay, that's nuts. Why? That's Fauci. We don't believe Fauci. No. Fauci just said, if your house is on fire, leave. No. He's a sellout. He's a CDC shill. Excuse me. That may be true. Are you listening to what he's saying? No. Because Fauci can say nothing. Fauci he was so good because he just pulled all the attention. And he created friends of people like my friend who just goes crazy. You just say CDC to him and he goes nuts. CDC has never said anything right in their life. All of a sudden, this guy who doesn't know about anything now is an expert on virology, virus transmissibility, you name it. He's an expert on everything. This guy is just, there's no end to him. There's no end, right? Why? Because of Fauci. Fauci did it. Now we got this Hotez or whatever his name is. He's the new one. It's very smart. And at first, they just all of a sudden, it's just that you don't remember this. You don't remember this, but let me tell you something. During the O.J. Simpson trial case, people became experts overnight. Blood splatter experts overnight. I will never forget this as long as I live. It was morning at WABC, and somebody said to me, why wasn't there more blood in the Bronco? Why wasn't there more blood in the Bronco? Why? Why was there not more blood in the Bronco? And I said, why was there any blood in the Bronco? What are you talking about? Like Brett Ernst says, you lay tile. What are you talking about blood splatter for? Because you don't remember this. There was no internet then. People just stayed home and watched TV. And they had these ideas about, I think when you stab somebody. And we said, no. If somebody's been stabbed a bunch of times and their blood pressure dropped because of internal bleeding, you can cut their throat. Nothing. I'm just terrible to say this. But the point is, I realized, oh my God, these people are experts. My friend, he's an mRNA specialist. You say that to him. There are other people I know. And by the way, there's a very interesting study that's going on around the world regarding the effects, the health effects of 5G. Don't bring that up. Because there are people here, when they say you say 5G, they say, COVID, and somehow, I don't know what. Remember that thing that went around that said, whenever there's the introduction of any kind of new radio or whatever, there's a rise. I mean, it was a meme. It was the most, people were just off and running. Now, lest you get the wrong impression, I think you should be able to say anything you want. You should be able to say whatever you want. It's my ability to say, no, that's not right. And it's your duty to figure out who's speaking the truth and who's not. But either way, what is very interesting to note out of all of this nonsense is that people are still missing the point completely. That we need to figure out what is happening. And somewhere there has to be adults discussing this. And I can't find any. I don't know where they are. They're not here. I mean, not here. But they're not in the regular realm of things. They're not. I don't know where they are. They're someplace. They're someplace else. It's incredible. Now, this is the part that kills me. And this is the part that I don't understand. How do I do this? How do I get people to focus on what matters? What is it? How do I get to explain NATO to people? They're not interested. How do I get to explain this case, Jacobson? In 1905, we have new interpretations. This is before incorporation by reference. This is before various rights were the First Amendment, the Second. This was during a time when 1905. The court needs to review this because we need to have a clear understanding of how things work. What is your right? How does a religious belief get in the way of immunization? It's going to be one of the biggest issues there is. We had a case one time years ago in New York. There was a Sikh who had a turban, and he worked for the MTA, for the subway system. And there was a rule that said you had to wear a hard hat. And he said, okay, I'll wear a hard hat on top of my turban. And or whatever it's called. I don't know if it's called a turban, but anyway. And they said, no, you can't. You have to take your turban off. He goes, no, I can't take my turban off. He goes, well, then you can't repair subway because, there's gears and whatever. And it's a risk. Sorry. They said, no, sorry for you. And it went to court. How do you deal with that? There was a real reason. There was a bona fide reason as to why people had to wear some kind of certain things could be a problem. Let's say you have a beard. You work in a food preparation. Can they mandate a beard thing? Yes, of course they can. Why? Because it's minimally obtrusive. But the thing is, they dealt with it. And there are issues that are going to have to be addressed and nobody understands. There are Republicans who are under this delusion that somehow you can win politically by saying I want to ban abortion. This is insane. This is nuts. This is absolutely nuts. Crazy talk. Crazy talk. Do you hear what I'm saying? crazy talk. It's not going to work that way. It's not going to work that way. It doesn't work that way. You're not going to win an election by saying we're going to ban abortions, because this right to life contingent is going to contaminate the Republican Party. Sorry to say, you're going to lose elections. Democrats, they don't have that. They're unified. You would have never seen a Democratic fight between Lauren Boebert and MTG on the floor. Never. Never. Because Republicans are immature. They've had it. They've been self-righteous for so long that to them it's like I don't know what the word is. It's like, we know we're right, and we don't care about anything. We're going to say this, and that's it. And then they start quoting scripture or whatever it is, and that's great. And whenever somebody quotes scripture, you know the argument's over. That's it. It's done. It's finished. Now you tell me how we get around this, and I'll be a happy person. You tell me. It's not there anymore. It's not there. The best thing that is happening, is Bobby Kennedy. I know nobody wants to hear that, but it's true. The best thing that has happened is Bobby Kennedy. Absolutely. Absolutely. And already they're worried about this. There was a great story. They're very concerned. And we've talked about that for a long time, but they're very concerned about that because he is going to split votes. He's having a good time with this. And I think it is wonderful. And if you go follow my Twitter. I know people say, I don't like Twitter. Okay, fine. All right. People always love to tell me what they don't do. I don't watch that. Okay. I heard something yesterday that was so good. I happened to be listening to CNN, and it was superior to Fox News. Superior. Actually, were telling me what I wanted to know. I wanted to know what's going on, and what is the other side saying? What is the other side saying? How does this thing work? The New Hampshire Democratic Party, already reeling from the likely absence of Biden on the state's primary ticket, has publicly urged Bobby Jr. to cancel his appearance at the state's annual Pork Fest, one of the biggest libertarian events in the country. They are scared. You happy about this? They are scared. This is so wonderful. Absolutely so wonderful. So terrific. Look at this one. Australia is the test site for fielding CBDCs to a national population. Their pilot programs are set to transfer this summer, and international transactions have been accomplished using the newly invented eAUD currency. This is the central bank digital currency. Do me a favor today. Promise me something. Promise me something. I want you to talk to every one of your friends, and I want you to tell them from me, all of your friends. Ask them, what do you think about digital currency? Ask them. Make sure, do me a favor, be an apostle of truth. Ask them and watch what they say. They will say, I don't know what you're talking about. Do you know what happens when we go digital currency? Do you know? Do you understand? Do you get it? Do you know what's going to happen to privacy and the like? Do you see how they are setting us up? No. Because for the most part, we live in this cockpit looking at these little dials that mean nothing. It's very personal, as evidenced by this love affair with Donald Trump. This weird fixation. Because you're not able to play chess. When you play chess, you say, okay, I'm going to sacrifice the pawn. I'm going to sacrifice the knight. Why? Because I'm going this way. You don't love the pieces. You're saying, well, this works. This is war. Move this, move here. Americans don't do this. Republicans don't do this. The right doesn't do it because they're self-righteous. They've been so self-righteous for so long that they don't understand it. They've never had to cooperate with anything. And you can see it. And that's why I'm telling you, the only purpose, the only thing, the only moment of happiness I've seen is what Bobby Kennedy will do by diluting the Democrat party, if you will, splitting that vote, diluting that vote, bringing a lot of his ideas or our ideas, bringing him in. It's like he's like that little bee that goes into the hive and contaminates them with the parasites or whatever, but he goes in, and for the first time people are saying, you know what, he makes a lot of sense. That's what we've been saying. Yeah, but we'll listen to him say it, not you. And it works like that. And the greatest thing is if he ever goes third party, it's a Republican one. And it can be done without Trump. Ron DeSantis, as dull as he is, can actually do more by going in, not being as obnoxious, doing maybe the same thing, if not more, but not getting that allergic reaction, that inflammation reaction from the other side. Can't say it enough, my friends. I can't say it enough. It's that serious, that critical. And that's where we are. So I want to have a boot camp. I'm serious. We need to start from day one and square one and recognize this. Because we talk so much, not we, but so much blather, this nonsense talk. It doesn't matter. And behind the Democrats is a shadow government that is so good. They are plotting this out perfectly. Nothing's going away. Let me say this. Let me leave you with this. Nothing is going to get better. Nothing. Nothing's getting better. They're not going to get tired of the, all of this drag queen stuff and going, no. It's not, no. Wait till you see what happens. Wait till you see what happens with schools. Wait till you see what happens with housing to all my friends who just don't understand it. Wait until it's already there. And and as soon as one thing happens, then they roll out the next one and the next one. These people have to be stopped politically. They have to be stopped. And the way to stop them is not wasting your time. That Durham thing, look, he did what he could. He did the best he could. His report was very glaring. It was very important. What does it mean in the long run? Nothing. Really, absolutely nothing. I'm sorry to say. All right, dear friends. Don't forget, as soon as we're done, you're going to go to mypillow.com. You're going to put promo code Lionel. And you're going to buy every single thing there. I know it's a lot of money, but we benefit tremendously from it. Because they're American made and they're still standing. Remember when Bed Bath & Beyond pulled that? Remember that? First one, I said, why? What's the matter with that? Well, we don't like what you're saying. Well, let's see who's standing. Look who's standing. All right, dear friends, have a great and a glorious day. Keep fighting. Keep thinking. Remember, turn off cable TV. Stop watching cable. Stop with this. If you pray for the people in the sub. I think now this is terrible. I think their air has already run out. It's horrible. But as we speak, there are people and children and families who are dying from diseases and dying. There is horror going on in the world that nobody seems to care about. Horror that is preventable, and nobody. But this submarine, again, tragic. But why not children? Well, that's so passé. That's the part that infuriates me. Thank you, dear friends. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Ford Frey. Thank you so much. And I also want to thank our friends from the LionelNation Scholarship. Thank you so much. You have a great and a glorious day. We'll see you tonight at 7 p.m. Don't ever change. I mean that sincerely. Don't forget these words. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.